area to deepen the India-Brazil strategic partnership? What specific areas such as renewable energy, defense, or agriculture research do you see as the key priorities for the collaboration during this visit, and how can we see strengthening the ties between the two nations? First, on the visit, how do you look at it?
Yes, well, in a few hours I'm flying to Rio, my native city. Well, I think that this visit is taking place in unprecedented times of booming business relations. Just to give you one figure, in less than 2 years we had 72 missions business missions from Brazil to India, and I think 40 plus from India to Brazil, and all focusing on trade, investment, and technology. So the critical mass to boost the relation is there, and there is the political will also to keep that relation moving to another stage, another level. So we are really looking forward to a very good visit.
Talking about the BRICS summit, strengthening global South cooperation for inclusive, and Brazil as the host plan to leverage this summit to advance the priorities of the global South. And what do you envision for India under its upcoming BRICS chairmanship as well?
Well, Brazil and India have been traditionally coordinating, in multilateral fora, also in BRICS and IBSA. So since we have already always coordinated based on common values and to a larger extent also on common interests and also perceptions of the world, we see Brazil paving the way for a very good and excellent Indian BRICS presidency, at least as good and as brilliant as your G20 presidency.
Great. Moving on, the BRICS summit will discuss the use of national currencies in the trade. How does Brazil view India's stance on enhancing intra-BRIC trade, and what steps can be taken to boost the bilateral relationship between India and Brazil, since
No, you are saying, no, we are just adding to my last answer. These business missions I have mentioned are already producing very tangible results. There is a number of recent announcements of Brazilian investments in India and Indian investments in Brazil. Here, Embraer has just arrived in India, establishing a full-fledged office in Aerocity. Embraco, a large Brazilian company of compressors, has announced a $120 million investment in Maharashtra. So these are two examples. And India, of course, your FDI stocks is larger than ours here. It's Mahindra, it's TCS, it's Bajaj, Hero MotoCorp, UPL, you name it. The boom is already happening. You see, and our leaders, when Honorable Prime Minister Modi was in Brazil for the G20, President Lula and Prime Minister Modi set a goal of achieving a $20 billion trade exchange. So I think this is going to be even more reinforced now.
Interesting. Yes. India has been vocal about the reforming the global governance as well, global governance structures. Yeah. What is Brazil's perspective on aligning with India's to push for changes in the institution like the United Nations Security Council during the BRICS summit discussions? Because everybody has been talking about this. What's your take?
Yes, no, I think that we we are at one in pushing for the reform of the Security Council, of its membership, and also methods of work. So that it will reflect the realities of multipolarity, the realities of having now big emerging countries accounting for a sizable part of world GDP. So I think this will be one of the Brazilian priorities for sure. And you have mentioned local currency in your previous question. Brazil is working also to offer a good option within BRICS of trade in local currencies, and also developing perhaps new payment platforms to offer a BRICS membership another option of doing business, expanding possibilities of doing business. This is not about aiming at de-dollarization. It's about offering other options.
Regarding the UBS, as you said about the digital payment and collaborations we can expect in future as well. Digital payment or the digital stack of India has been quite talked about. So any collaboration we can expect?
Well, I think Brazil in this case has much to learn from India. Brazil has also put in place a payment like UPI, which is called PIX. But when it comes to digital government, I think India is more advanced than in Brazil. And we have a lot to learn because we also have a federal structure, as we do have. So how you have just combined from the technological point of view and from the legal point of view, the relation between digital governance at the federal level, at the state level, at the local level. So here we stand to learn from India, really.
We have seen both the leaders meeting in G20 last year. Now it's the BRICS summit.
Yes.
How does this help in India-Brazil relationship? How does it help in strengthening India-Brazil relationship? Because both leaders will be meeting again.
No, I think it's strengthened because the leaders meet against a historical background of a long relation for almost 80 years, and throughout this almost 80 years, I think much trust has been built. So I think two big democracies, two of the largest world democracies, making their imprint together in BRICS.
You did touch upon the aviation collaboration. Any defense collaboration which we can also expect between India and Brazil, if you can?
Yes, I think there have been, of course, when you talk about defense cooperation, this is discussed with with a lower profile. But as you have seen on the press, there is a possibility of India selling Akash systems to Brazil, petrol vessels, concluding a memorandum of understanding on managing the so-called Scorpène submarines, French submarines, because Brazil also has bought French submarines, as you know. So the idea of the two countries also combining their expertise in the area of maintenance. And from our side, you see Embraer coming to India and having, I think, reasonable expectations to set here a very good presence, which will be beneficial to both countries, I think.
This brings me to the last question.
Yes.
And of course, the COP30.
Yes.
Brazil will be hosting the COP30 later in 2025.
Yes.
Climate action is a key focus. How can India and Brazil collaborate on climate financing and sustainable development initiative during the BRICS summit to address these global challenges?
Yeah, in Indian presidency of G20, your presidency tasked a group of 10 multilateral banks to come up with the ideas on how to adapt traditional financial mechanisms to the needs of climate financing, how the multilateral banks can work more in synergy to help boost climate financing for the global south. Brazil took the cue. We further developed your ideas of your G20 presidency, and we are hoping that the BRICS will also contribute to this discussion leading to COP30. So this is an idea of pulling a thread of thinking, a thread of studies and reflection in order to see if we can reach COP30 with new avenues of financing, because climate change fighting it's to a large extent about financing, not only, but to a large extent.
I can speak more
yes.
Talking about the leaders, the relationship between the leaders and how it boosts the relationship between the two countries. How do you look at President Lula and Prime Minister Modi's bond and how it has ushered the relationship between the two countries?
Oh, yeah. I think there are two important leaders of the global south with clear, strong views about the evolving geopolitical landscape. And again, we see a synergy of thinking in terms of boosting the importance of the global south countries and also reinforcing multipolarity. So I'm looking forward to a very good state visit.